We are here for the 5th and final video of the energy and frequency of abundance. And so if you have not watched the first videos, the first 4, go and watch them. Today, we're going to be doing some more advanced work around appreciation. And as a preface to this, I'm going to explain to you the law of increase and decrease. All right. So for today's work, what we're really working on is how we engage with life, right? So again, this is a little bit more advanced of a practice. So if you don't know how to observe, if you don't know how to acknowledge, we might be a little over your head here, but I don't know, maybe not. Okay. So law of increase and decrease is more or less about the energy that you pour onto your life creations, your manifestations, the quality of energy that you pour onto them. All right. And when I say pour onto, I mean give attention to, right? So right now I'm pouring attention onto my door. I'm giving my attention to my door. If I look this way, I'm giving my attention to my window. Now, both of those stares, I'm in the middle of making a video, were very neutral. I was not pouring a lot of emotional energy onto either one. But when it comes to real life, we really tend to. So let's talk about the law of increase. And I'm going to teach it with the law of decrease because my cute little brain loves to learn in opposites. It helps me figure things out way faster. So I'm going to assume that you also like that. All right. So law of increase is really, there's many different kinds of energy that increase something. So if we were to pour acknowledgement, appreciation, gratitude, encouragement, celebration, these are all frequencies that add increase, right? Now think about this. Let's say you talk to somebody and they give you a compliment. They say, "Oh, you are so beautiful. And I saw that wonderful thing that you did and you're also so kind," right? So they're acknowledging the beauty that's there. They're acknowledging the kindness that's there. That's going to feel good to receive, right? It's like they gave you a point, right? Now if somebody says, "You did such beautiful work, with one of your coworkers. I really appreciate how you showed up." Right? They're giving you a point, right? If people are celebrating you, right? Like if you get the Lifetime Achievement Award and everybody's there celebrating you and everybody's clapping, right? You're going to get all of that energy and it's going to be an increased quality of energy. Your little energy field is going to grow and expand and you're going to feel warm and fuzzy. All right. Now, did I give you a complete list on qualities of energy that decrease? Definitely not. All right, now let's talk about energies of decrease: non-acknowledgement or ignoring, complaining, criticizing, diminishing, disregarding, disrespecting. All right, so if somebody says, "Your hair's not right today," so they're looking at you, they're observing you, but instead of giving you a little energy boost, they're taking a point away, right? There's obviously no real point system, but just bear with me. So they're taking away one of your points. That feels bad. If somebody's to disrespect you, they're going to take your point away, or multiple points. If somebody's going to diminish your work, diminish your effort, diminish your value, we're going to not like that. So what's interesting is that many times we get taught that we're not allowed to brag, we're not allowed to boast, we're not allowed to sing our own praises, right? When you were a kid, did you ever get that? Don't show off, don't show everybody your report card. So when you're a little kid, that most of us want that energy of increase, we're going to go to the adults in our lives and be like, "Give me a point." And then we get taught that that's not bad, that that's not okay. So a lot of times, most of us have a lot of criticism that's internal facing. So what ends up happening over time, and this is the way that I explain it, and this happens to a lot of people. If this doesn't happen for you, feel free to disregard. But a lot of times when you're not allowed to celebrate yourself, celebrate your accomplishments, people call you conceited or whatever else when you're doing that, what ends up happening is we really learn to kind of cover one of our, I call it the eye of criticism and the eye of magnificence. So we kind of stop seeing our own magnificence. We kind of become blind to that. And what ends up happening is then we are always looking at ourselves with the eye of criticism. Now, over time, that becomes really imbalanced for people. And for women, I see a lot of times will kind of manifest as perfectionism, right? Like no matter what she does, it's never good enough. And that, because every time we look at ourselves, we're taking a point away from our own selves where we decrease. And what ends up happening is over time, you kind of shrink. Your energy's not as powerful. You're always hurting yourself energetically. You're always taking your own points energetically and just kind of throwing them away. So I want to just Because how we treat ourselves with increase or decrease really, really matters, right? If I look in the mirror and I'm like, hey girl, bitch, I'm going to feel different than if I look in the mirror and I'm like, damn, you still didn't lose that 12 pounds, 40 pounds, however many, right? It's going to be different. If I encourage myself, like if I'm doing a project and I'm like, this is hard, but I know I could do it, and I encourage myself, I'm going to have a different outcome than if I tell myself what a stupid piece of shit I am and that I'm never going to figure it out. So this is how we can use law of increase and decrease with ourselves, all right? Now, this same stuff happens with how we interact with people. Are we a person who's going to give a point? Be abundant, give a point to people? Or are we going to be a person who takes a bite out of somebody, right? Energy of decrease. When we look at our money, are we somebody who's like, this money, I love this money, I bless this money is more than enough. You know, when I pay for things, I give you my money like with joy and gratitude and abundance? Or am I somebody who's like, you're going to have to pull this out of my cold dead hand? Right? You ever get a payment from somebody who didn't want to pay you? It feels fucking gross. Right? We don't like that. So we're starting here with the law of increase and decrease. So how do we use appreciation? Appreciation is the energy of increase. Now we put other flavors to it, you know, to just make this example clear. But today we're just going to kind of dial in on appreciation. So when your assets appreciate, they're growing. When you appreciate a person, you're adding increase to their field. When you appreciate your stuff, you're going to take care of it. You're going to add to its longevity, right? If you appreciate your car, you're going to get its oil changed. You're going to take good care of it. It's going to last longer, right? You expand its life. Okay. So it's the energy of increase. So this is what I want to point out here. This isn't just like a gratitude practice where we're going to write down the things that we appreciate. Although you could do that. That's a beautiful practice. But what I'm talking about is how we engage day to day, right? And so this is about your words, your thoughts, your actions. So words, like you could say, oh, I love this car. I appreciate it so much. You could think that, you could speak it. But when it comes to like taking the action, you're going to get the oil changed. You're going to get it detailed. You're going to take care of it, right? So there's action. We want to pay attention. So here's what I would encourage you to do. So you set your intention for the day to pour appreciation on whatever you want more of. So let's just say your kids or your spouse does a chore without being asked, without being told. And you say, hey, child, you did this chore and I didn't even have to ask you, and thank you. I appreciate that so much. So now they do the thing and you give them a point. Now listen, a lot of us want to criticize. We want to say, oh, you did the thing without being asked for the fucking first time ever. It's really a criticism. What we're really saying is, oh, you did the thing, and I'm not saying really thank you. I'm saying you should have been doing it the whole time, right? So we're going to take a point away. You know, people don't like that. Now listen. In your house, this is a fun thing to watch. Your power of appreciation, this quality of attention that you have. Watch it change your house. Now, does it happen instantaneously? Sometimes, but sometimes it takes a couple weeks of these sorts of things. So I want you just to appreciate. So anything that you want more of, appreciate it. So if you want more money, appreciate your money. Blessed as it comes in, blessed as it goes out, right? So that's energetic. Speak it. I have more than enough money. I have plenty of money. Now, if this isn't true yet, do your best to get started with it, making it true. So let's just say, oh, I have more than enough money. I have money to save. Put $1 in your savings account. Start with something. I have more than enough money, so I can put this money in my savings account and bless that money as it goes. Now it's starting to become true. So this way, if your mind is a little bit of a cock block, we can be like, this is true. So start to take the action. When you're appreciating your money, if you have investments, go check in on your investments, right? That's an act of appreciation. So this is how we can use our focused attention. So we want to be using it for the law of increase. Now, when something happens that you don't like, you could choose to not pay a ton of attention to it. Now, is that always appropriate? Definitely not, right? Is that something that you should always do? No, you shouldn't. But for small things, you could just pull the attention away and then appreciate something else. All right. So you can play with that. Sometimes you can be in appreciation and also give a slight correction, right? Let me give you an example. So I don't know, maybe like a year or two ago, my husband, I like seltzer water of all different flavors, right? I love seltzer water. And he was at the grocery store and he was so sweet. He was buying me all of these different seltzer waters. The thing is, most of the ones that he bought were not seltzer water. They were like clear soda. They were like sweet and like diet clear soda. And so they looked very similar to the seltzer. So he was picking out based on the flavors. And so I of course appreciate that he loves me. I appreciate that he pays attention. I appreciate that he got me all the flower flavors for me to try. And also I was like, babe, thank you so much. Like, I feel so seen. And just so you know, these are not seltzer water. These are something else. The kids will still drink them. Like, we don't have to waste them, but I won't drink them, right? And so I just want to, you can be in appreciation and abundance and also give a correction. But what I did not do is I did not criticize him or like disregard his thoughtfulness by saying something like, oh, you got the wrong ones. You know, I didn't do that. I was like, I see what you were doing here. You were thinking of me. You were loving me. You were taking care of me. Right? Okay. I think I've said enough. All right. So I hope that you can use all of these beautiful practices to create more and more abundance in your life. And I hope that I did a good enough job explaining to you some of the basics of energy work and like basically how to start using your energy on purpose. So please leave comments, subscribe, share this with your friends, share it to wherever you think would be appropriate. And that's it. I love you so much, and I will see you in the rest of my videos. Bye, everybody.